Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that is literally hiding right under our noses. We all interact with furniture every single day, right? But I know I rarely pause to consider the intricate, crazy journey those pieces take before they ever arrive in our bedrooms. So today, we're deconstructing the entire production process of a piece of furniture we're all super familiar with, the wardrobe. I want you to really look around your home after this. Think about the wardrobe sitting in your bedroom right now. Have you ever actually thought about the hidden complexity, the precise engineering, and the highly sequenced manufacturing gauntlet required just to build it? Turning massive raw materials into a beautifully finished, perfectly aligned wardrobe is a fascinating process, and it demands an absolute ton of precision. Okay, so here's our roadmap for the factory floor today. First, anatomy of a wardrobe. Second, meet the raw materials. Third, the core cutting process. Fourth, shaping and edge banding. Fifth, the unique components. And lastly, the final assembly. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. Anatomy of a wardrobe. We're deconstructing the blueprint.
So, to really understand how a wardrobe is built, we kind of have to treat it like a strict engineering blueprint. It's like a giant puzzle. A single wardrobe, which we can call the top level or level 1, is actually a complex hierarchy of highly specific, uniquely numbered modules that all have to work together. At that top level, you've got the carcass, the doors, the shelf, the back panel, and the clothes rod. But if you look closer at just the wardrobe carcass, it breaks down even further. It splits into side panels, top and bottom panels, horizontal and vertical dividers, and a plinth board. Every single one of those pieces is meticulously tracked and numbered in the production process. Now, what's absolutely wild here is that despite serving vastly different functions, whether it's an outer door swinging open, a structural side panel holding everything up, or a shelf holding your heavy winter sweaters, all of these specific components share the exact same fundamental manufacturing journey. They all start as the exact same thing, and they get pushed through the exact same sequence of core operations. Moving on to Section 2, meet the raw materials, the true foundation of our furniture. Before a single saw blade even thinks about spinning up, we have to look at what physically arrives on the factory floor. This is the heavyweight champion, right here. For almost every major component we just talked about, the doors, those massive side panels, the dividers, the shelves, the foundational raw material is exactly the same. It's 18mm thick laminated particle board. Using this standardized 18mm thickness is absolutely crucial because it guarantees structural integrity across the entire carcass. When you step onto a real furniture manufacturing floor, you'll literally see towering stacks of this board just waiting to be processed. Section 3, the core cutting process. Time to slice up the standard. So this is where the magic begins, and you can really feel a distinct rhythm building on the factory floor. To manage the immense volume of panels they need, the factory streamlines dozens of different routing tasks down into 3 core repetitive operational steps. Step 1 is panel cutting. Step 2 is edge banding those newly exposed, narrow surfaces. And Step 3 is precision drilling and milling. This linear life cycle applies to virtually every piece of 18mm board that makes up the bulk of your wardrobe. Step 1 relies heavily on an absolute workhorse, the panel saw. This is the essential first machine that actually touches the wood. It uses a highly durable carbide-tipped circular saw blade to execute those initial panel cutting operations. It basically takes those massive, raw particle boards and slices them down to the exact precise sizes required for each specific part, whether it needs to be a tall door or just a small horizontal divider. Okay, Section 4, shaping and edge banding, sealing and prepping the wood. Now, you might be wondering, when you run a saw blade through a laminated board, you expose the raw, porous core on the edges, right? Well, what's really interesting is how they solve that. Enter the edge banding machine. As the freshly cut panels move down the assembly line, this equipment uses a milling cutter head to prep the edge, and then immediately applies a protective edge banding using a super strong industrial hot melt adhesive. This binds the banding directly to the narrow cut surfaces. It creates a seamless, perfectly finished look that makes the particle board appear as if it's one solid, continuous piece of material. Once the edges are sealed, the board is structurally sound and it looks great. But
Once the edges are sealed, the board is structurally sound and it looks great. But actually, scratch that. It looks great, but it still can't connect to anything. This is where precision shaping comes in. Using an automated CNC machine tool equipped with specific drill and router bit sets, the factory executes some really complex milling operations. It drills the exact holes needed for hinges in the doors, carves out slots for shelf pegs, and preps the dividers and side panels for their structural fittings. The CNC ensures every single hole is accurate down to a fraction of a millimeter. That way, assembly later on is absolutely flawless.
Section 5. The unique components, breaking the 18mm mold. While that heavy 18mm board basically runs the factory, a wardrobe has a few fascinating oddballs that require totally different materials. Take the back panel, for instance. We know the core carcass is heavy 18mm thick laminated board, covered in hot melt adhesive edge banding and heavily melt. But the back panel? Totally different story. It's made of a very thin 4mm thick HDF board. Because it sits completely enclosed at the very rear of the wardrobe, it only requires a simple pass through the panel saw. No edge banding machine needed, and no complex CNC drilling required at all. And then we have the clothes rod. The crucial takeaway here is the drastic shift in technology. Up to this point, the entire factory floor has been defined by traditional woodworking, right? Panel saws, router bits, carbide tip blades, wood dust, and adhesives. But for the clothes rod, we jump out of the wood shop entirely. We're dealing with a chrome-plated steel profile. To cut this, the factory utilizes a high-tech CNC laser cutting machine, specifically using a powerful fiber laser cutting head to perform the profile section cutting. No way, right? It's an incredible technological pivot just for the rod that holds your hangers. Finally, Section 6, the final assembly, bringing it all together. All right, so our raw materials have now been sliced, glued, drilled, and lasered. It is time to unite them. Assembly happens in two major phases. Phase 1 is all about the carcass assembly. We have to build the structural skeleton first. This unites all those specific subcomponents we talked about, the side panels, the top and bottom panels, the dividers, and the plinth board. Because this shell holds literally everything else, it has to be permanently and perfectly squared. To do this, the factory relies on strong PVA wood glue and a massive, heavy-duty cabinet assembly press. This machine essentially gives the whole glued carcass a giant squeeze, holding it tightly while the furniture fittings are secured, ensuring maximum rigidity. Once that massive carcass is firmly pressed and glued together, it moves to Phase 2, the final assembly workstation. This is where the human touch often comes back into play, using hand tools and various furniture fittings. This final stage is all about bringing all the major modules together. That heavy, glued carcass is united with those precision-drilled doors. The thin 4mm HDF back panel gets secured into place. The 18mm shelves are slotted in, and of course, that high-tech, laser-cut chrome steel clothes rod is finally installed. Every separate manufacturing journey we just talked about converges right here. And there you have it, the whole shebang, from raw 18mm particle boards and steel profiles to carbide-tipped saws, hot melt adhesives, CNC routers, and fiber lasers. It's a genuinely incredible journey. So what does this all mean for us? Well, the next time you open your closet to grab a jacket, I hope you won't just see your clothes. I hope you'll see the numbers, the blueprint, the hidden symphony of machines, and a true masterpiece of precision manufacturing hiding right there in plain sight. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep looking closely at the world around you. Catch you next time.